The MOT on the van had ran out, and then I completely lost my temper and I broke it completely. We've struck another failure. Who said working on cars was a good hobby? Tried to do a Matt Armstrong and just try and be jammy. I was none the wiser, but thanks to one of my vigilant subscribers, I was informed. And now we need to turn our attention to actually getting it MOT'd, which isn't going to be as straightforward as it would normally be. I decided to start with the easiest option first, so I popped the bonnet, stuck my head underneath to try and find the fuse box for this thing, because I was praying that's what it was going to be. I then found out that there was another fuse box inside, which is more than likely going to be the location of the fuse for the ABS pump. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to find a diagram, so I'm not actually sure whether I checked the right fuse or not. So I quickly checked on the internet to see where the fuses were located, to see if I checked the right one. There is one thing to bear in mind though when you are scavenging the internet for information to try and complete a job, that it might not be absolutely true. I just inspected the fuses in the dashboard, but it does appear when I first went under the bonnet to look for a larger fuse box, I was right in doing so because it is in there. But Volkswagen stupidly decided to put it underneath the battery, so we've now got to take all the battery out and all the battery tray and all that sort of stuff around it to access the fuses. Now I should have known this because I did watch Chris Howes from Lowdown Transporters absolutely slam his van, and I remember him saying something about having to move a fuse box. So we're now going to have to strip out all the battery compartment and hopefully try and find a 50 amp fuse for the ABS. The second fuse box is located underneath the battery. So here we are removing the plastic trim which goes on top of the battery to gain access to actually remove the battery itself. There's two 10mm bolts holding the terminals onto it, and we need to obviously get this out so we can check the fuses. Now, this is one of them jobs every petrol head has. It's only going to take a few minutes, nice, quick and easy, which turns into a 5-day long absolute escapade. So here we are removing the battery strap so we can actually remove the battery out, obviously, so we can check the fuses. With the battery out, we can then move on to removing the battery plate, the battery holder, so we can then gain access to the actual fuse cover, which is held in by probably about 8 or 9 T25 torque bits. Once we got the battery off, we got access to the fuse cover, which was stuck quite hard because the T25s holding it in had rusted, and trying to get it off, being heavy-handed, I actually cracked it. And then I completely lost my temper and I broke it completely. So, lesson to be learned there. Don't throw your toys at the pram, but it was pretty cold and I was getting a little bit agitated. But anyhow, lesson learned, things go wrong, even professionals get it wrong, and sometimes it's worth asking your friends. It is okay to ask for help. So I spoke to a friend of mine, Chris Howes, who owns Lowdown Transporters, the absolute transporter guru, and he sent me this.
So this ABS wires, they run along the top here and they hit this bit of chassis and damage the cable. So what you've got to do is get a trim clip removal thing, pop these out, drill yourself a 6mm hole here, pop that one in the side, and then mark where this hole needs to be because it'll be further along. Drill another 6mm hole, pop it back in there. Should sort the issues.
Back wheels off, and it looks like we've struck another failure, because it does look like that rerouting of the ABS line has been done, like Chris has already said. So like Chris said, this ABS line normally runs along the top, but it has been relocated here to stop that from happening. It has got tape on it, so there is a possibility that there is a damaged wire there. £46 later, we've got 2 plugs and 2 bits of wire to hopefully try and get the replacement wires done on this back corner. At this point, I wasn't actually sure that it was going to work, I've never really wired anything up previously, and I'm not 100% sure that I'm doing it correctly, but we need it to work because I'm investing money into this thing to try and sort it out, and so far we're just getting setback after setback. But here we are rewiring the new plug for the wiring on the van that connects to the ABS sensor, and as you can see by these old wires that they were in a bit of a sorry state. I made sure that I wrote down which colour went to what number on the plug so we didn't rewire it the wrong way around. When it came to actually installing the wires back to the loom on the van, we obviously had to strip the ends of the wire to then use heat shrink connections to actually connect the two together. As you can see here, we're using some crimps now to connect the wires to the loom on the van, and then using a lighter to melt the heat shrink to try and keep it as watertight as possible. Once we had finished this, I did wrap it in lots of electrical tape to make sure that we do keep the water out to prevent any electrical issues with this in the future. I'm pretty impressed with this because I know it's an easy job, it doesn't take long to do this sort of stuff, but it always feels good when you've accomplished a good job on something. And, well, it'd be even better if it actually fixed the fault. Managed to get the repair done, looking really good, but we now need to go on the fault code reader and reset the codes and see if we've fixed the problem. Now, if I start this up, oh, for God's sake, we've still got the blimmin' light on. All that, and we haven't actually fixed it. With the failure of the wire not actually fixing the problem, I've just gone and picked up two brand new ABS sensors. I bit the bullet, I bought two brand new ones, and we're gonna quickly whip them on, but I know that quickly will not be the words to use for this job because I know for a fact it's gonna be an absolute ball ache. Here is how it's going. The sensor got stuck in the hub, so I've had to drill it out, and to do that I've had to take the brake disc off, the caliper, the carrier, the shield behind it, so it's not been good. Brakes is something I'm really confident at, so taking these off and reinstalling them back on the car in no time was not an issue for me. So I decided to refit it back up, put the wheel back on, and try a different trick. The head scratching is going to continue with the van because I've put the new sensors in, put it all back together, and we have still got the fault code shown on the dashboard. Now, I have put my code reader on it, and it is still showing the same faults on the system, but I tried to do a Matt Armstrong and just try and be jammy. I took it for a drive down the road to see if that would clear the fault codes for some strange reason, but obviously it hasn't done that. When I drove down the road, I did have my diagnostic machine on it, which was showing me the electrical current which was going to the ABS sensors on the car. Both the front sensors were having a reading and the ones at the back were reading nothing. We haven't been able to fix it, and I'm still no further forward with getting this thing sorted for an MOT. Who said working on cars was a good hobby? Nobody. Unfortunately, that is all we have got time for with the van, but the tales of fixing this for its MOT is not over, so make sure you smash that like button and smash that subscribe button down below. If you want to watch similar or better content, head over to the Auto Finesse and Lowdown Transporter YouTube channels, and most of all, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.